What's going on, Energy family? Welcome back to 5D Warriors of Light. Again, I am Ace. If you would like to join the Energy family, please hit that subscribe button or follow us on Telegram at Army of Energy Chat. Today, I wanted to talk to you all about checking ego philosophies that we think are serving us, but in reality, we haven't trusted what came back from our vessel, from our guides, from the higher perspective that we are, to see how we can move forward more efficiently and effectively on this sojourn. I came to realize at the end of 2019 that I really needed to change everything about my life, including what I consumed. I stopped eating meat, right? I stopped eating meat for about 15 months. I really didn't want to eat animals anymore. I really thought that I could live on this planet without consuming flesh of other animals. And it was a philosophy of mine. It was such a philosophy that I had lost so much weight doing this vegetarian diet that I had become almost anemic. And I had gone down from 185 pounds at I'd say my best weight, and I went down to 139 pounds. Now, I needed to do this for me, and I knew I needed to do that to get rid of the scar tissue, to get rid of the inflammation, to get rid of all of the illusions that were happening in my body because of all the years I wasn't listening to it. I wanted to maintain this philosophy. I wanted to be able to move forth with this 5D diet, right? This 5D diet of raw vegetables and fruits and sunlight, and all those things are very important. But I wasn't actually listening to my body because of these philosophies I thought I had, which had me thinking I was smarter than the vessel that was giving me the experience at the time. Some of the symptoms I was going through were, I felt like I was like floating away. I didn't want to be on Earth anymore. I didn't feel grounded. I didn't feel connected to anything. And it made me uncomfortable. It made me really not enjoy this ascension experience as much. Is the ascension experience enjoyable? It can be if we listen to our vessel and we give it what it needs. But when we try to think that we know more than what our body's telling us is when we suffer. Because again, we have these ego philosophies, these ideas of who we want to be, instead of allowing ourselves to just be who we naturally are. I really didn't know what to do, and I really didn't want to eat meat. And then one day I got on a call with this spiritual nutritionist who had been vegan for 18 years and realized that it didn't help him. And so what he came to understand is, due to his blood type and where his body comes from, basically where his body was developed for. Mine, I'm Scandinavian, so I was developed for the mountains, very cold, not a lot of sunlight, 6 months out of the year, you can't even grow anything. And I was trying to eat a vegan diet with a vessel that's designed to eat meat at least half the year. And that is why I was decaying, and the same thing happened to him. And he started me off on 4 ounces of beef chuck a week, and immediately I started to feel much better. And so I was eating a little bit of meat, and trying to, stay away from it most of the time, eat it once or twice a week, and I would gain weight and then lose it immediately. I'd gain weight and lose it immediately. And so as I kept doing this, I got really disheartened, because I've never had a problem gaining weight in my life. I've never had an issue. I've always been heavy. I've always zigzagged weight left and right, so it was not hard for me to put on mass. But all of a sudden, I need to put on weight, and I couldn't because I didn't have the right sustenance to actually build the body that my body wanted to build and that I was trying to build. So I talked to my buddy Connor Keys of Intention Global, who's a Eastern medicine doctor and a nutritionist, and he basically just told me, man, you just need to eat. You just need to keep eating. Doesn't matter if it's pork, doesn't matter if it's beef, doesn't matter if it's chicken, doesn't matter if it's anything. Just eat it. Because your body is craving sustenance right now. It's going through so many changes. You're trying to start working out again. You're trying to get this body up and going, and it's not reacting to you because you're not giving it what it needs to be able to perform. Now, I'm not saying that this story is for everyone. There are plenty of people that can survive on a 5D vegan diet. I wish I could. I'm just not one of those people. But I had to check that ego philosophy in order to be able to get to where I am even now. And over in the last 2 weeks, I've been able to go kayaking. I started doing pull-ups again, push-ups. I've been able to sprint. I haven't been able to sprint and run in over 8 years. But because I cut out meat, because I cut out all the crap that was actually making my body inflamed and decay, I was able to heal the vessel. I was able to heal the muscle, the fascia, the scar tissue. I was able to heal the connective tissues in my body. And now I'm able to do stuff that I wasn't even able to do 8 years ago. So I would say that I feel the best I've ever felt now because I finally surrendered and accepted that doing it my way wasn't working, and doing it the right way for me was the only way. So over the last couple of years, I've been really focusing on setting intention. Everything I do every day is intentional. Before I make these videos, I set the intention. Before I make a meal, I set the intention. And now what I've learned is it doesn't matter what you consume, it's how you consume it and the intention you have when you're consuming it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. The first time I ate meat, I cried my eyes out. I couldn't believe I had to consume more animal flesh. It killed me. But on top of that, I knew all about where all the meat's being processed, how it's being processed, how they're being abused, what happens when you consume the blood of an abused, tortured animal. And I was really nervous about it. I don't eat meat because I want to eat meat. I eat meat because I desire to be healthy and I desire to give my body what it needs to give me the experience that I'm looking for. That's how this works. We're not this body nor this mind, but we're the one commanding it. We're the ones putting the food in it. We're the ones making the choices throughout the day of how we're using it. And this is completely on us, and this is what we can control. And because we have trauma from our past, say where there was a time in our life where eating this one thing made us feel this way, or drinking this one thing made us perform this way, or consuming this one thing made us get fat, or something like that. And now we have a fear program based around it, even though our body's telling us it's okay, even though our vessel's telling us that it's no longer the case, we have these ego programs, this philosophy that we know better because we've been there before. But you regrow every cell in your body every 13 months. Every 13 months, you become a brand new human. This vessel completely regrows itself. And depending on the environment you're in, depending on the circumstances and situations you find yourself in, determines how the vessel will perform over those 13 months. And so that's why it's life cycles. That's why we're constantly kind of rehashing old programs and rehashing old scenarios so that we can become more refined in the way we deal with it, so that eventually we aren't even dealing with anything. We're just moving through in a flow state because we know what to do, because we're listening from our hearts and we're not listening to the ego in our head telling us things that may or may not be true. Again, the ego isn't bad or wrong. The ego's here to protect us. The ego was the one that got affected in the past, and therefore it is scared of it happening again. But as a higher perspective, coaching and mentoring this ego, this human, this little boy or girl inside, and growing them up into the age that your human is, allows for us to gently move into this transition and surrender to what it is we have to do. And this can be anything. This could be any ego philosophy. I use the diet because I had a really good reference story from it, and I've been telling a lot about it over the last 9 months when I've been making these videos. But there's plenty of ego philosophies out there. It's the philosophy of vaccines, right? This idea that you're going to get this vaccine and all of a sudden you're done for. But what happens if we're more powerful? What happens at 5D, 6D, if we're already vibrating at this level, if all we got to do is set the intention and we change the energy of everything we consume, everything we watch, everything that we do, just by thinking differently about it. So when I go to eat meat now, I pray and I set the intention. I thank Source, Father, Mother, God for the sustenance. I thank the animal for giving me life, giving their life force. I ask that the animal levels up and is able to move up onto their sojourn due to their sacrifice, because we have to understand we're all free will beings here. Every being chose to be here at this time in the form that they are. That's what sovereignty is, and that's what free will is. And that's exactly what we are. We're sovereign free will beings. So how can you check some of these ego philosophies that you have? How can you check some of these concepts, these ideas, these thoughts that are actually lowering your vibration, that are actually not serving you, but they make you feel good thinking that you are validating some aspect of you that isn't actually true, how can we just check one of those this week? How can we just take a different perspective? I'm not saying believe it. I'm not saying even adopt a new philosophy. I'm just saying, how can we check our ego philosophies this week and see what parts of them are still serving us and what parts of them we can tweak or let go of? If you can really start taking inventory on everything you are, everything you think, everything you feel and do, eventually you don't have to think about it anymore because you're just doing it. And when the ego starts barking in your ear, you understand that he or she is just looking out for you. Just wants to make sure you're good, wants to make sure that you're safe. That's the difference. The spirit makes us thrive. The ego makes sure we survive. You have to know which one is which, and you got to know when to choose one or when to choose the other. But I'm super proud of all of you. I mean, look at how far we have come. I cannot believe that we are in the summer of 2021. Masks are going away. The VACCINEs were a flop. As much as they want to tout that stuff, it's not working. People are ascending. People are smiling at each other again. People are healthier. The air's cleaner. The water's more pure. The sky's bluer. The trees are more green. New Earth is here. And if you don't believe New Earth is here yet, it's because you got ego philosophies convincing you of a truth that may have been once true, but may no longer be serving you. So if we can check those ego philosophies today, or this week, I'm telling you, again, this vessel will come alive and your experience will open up. And that's all we're looking for. So if you liked what you've seen and heard today, hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. If you want to check us out on Telegram, t.me/armyofenergyofchat. And again, I'm excited to do this with you guys. I'm excited to walk this path with y'all. But what else is there? This is the best. So I really appreciate you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have an even better evening. And I'll check you out sometime else. Take care and goodbye.